Imagine this. The virtual party room is set. The graphics you've picked out, the captions that you've tweaked are perfect. It's telling a story that's going to be fun and inviting for the guests. The countdown to the tea party has begun, and you can practically feel the excitement in the air. You feel like a little kid again, where your party decor was all set up and the little party favors, and you're just sitting there anxiously waiting for the guests to show up. You've got the perfect host. She's enthusiastic, motivated, and ready to rock this party. You've carefully picked out all of the products, making sure that they are exactly what your host guests will like. Finally, the moment arrives. The first scheduled post goes live, which is introducing what a tea party is all about. But then, silence. Not a single emoji reaction, no comments, not even a virtual wave. The only sound is that licking of water that is my dog in the background in the middle of my podcast. The vibrant virtual room you imagine suddenly feels eerily quiet. It's like throwing a party and having no one show up. The next post, though, carefully designed to spark engagement with the fun question, hits the party, and once again, the response is the same. A deafening silence.
You're listening to Turn Down the Hustle, the podcast dedicated to transforming how you run your creative online t-shirt business by working smarter, not harder, so you can spend more time with your why, people, and passions that matter most in your life. So throw on your favorite graphic tee and turn up the heat press, because it's time to turn down the hustle. Here's your host, digital marketer, cold brew lover, t-shirt maker, freckled hype girl, and owner of Sunkissed Virtual Assistant, Amy.
So you go to bed with some disappointment, but you're hoping that the next day is going to be better. Surely they're going to engage while I'm asleep. Maybe I have a party full of night owls. Morning breaks and you check back in, and there's still no signs of life in your virtual tea party. The host has commented here or there, but where are all of her friends? Your heart sinks and the panic sets in. You start to question everything. Did you miss something? Did you misjudge your audience? Did you misinterpret what the host wanted? Does your host not want to host anymore? Doubt creeps in like a shadow, and you're left staring at the screen, wondering where you went wrong. You find yourself at a crossroad, one leading to frustration, where you're thinking, what is the point of this? And the other one is going to lead you to a solution. You know deep down that there's potential here, that tea parties can be a hit, but this first experience has shaken your confidence. It's a situation that anyone who puts their heart and soul into this event can relate to. The gut-wrenching feeling of watching your carefully planned efforts fall flat. But fear not, because in the midst of this daunting scene lies a silver lining, and that's the power to turn things around. And that's where the concept of a hype team steps in, ready to transform this narrative of silence into one of an excitement, engagement, and community. If you want your party goers and even the hosts to be excited during your tea party, then there needs to be excitement to go join. The reason why I love a hype team is because you get ahead of this engagement and excitement and this fun atmosphere. Instead of waiting for the host and his or her friends to create this party environment, you are already setting the scene with a party environment in store for them. So let me set the scene for you again on how this leverages the bandwagon effect whenever you build a hype team. So transport yourself back to middle school. Super awkward. Everybody's trying to figure out who they are and who's friends with who, but picture yourself at a middle school dance. You might have the stereotypical boys on one side, girls on another. They're kind of looking across the way. I guess maybe more so I'm describing a movie scene, because actually this isn't how my middle school dances went. But you have the girls on one side, boys on another side. Music's playing, but nobody's really getting out there to dance. Next thing you know, a couple people are brave enough, maybe it's the class clowns, do get out there and start dancing. It starts with 2 people. And then next thing you know, 3 people start to join. and 4, 5, 6, and then it keeps on going from there. Whereas whenever it was an empty dance floor, no one really wanted to join in. But if the majority is starting to dance or they're having a good time, that's kind of an example of the bandwagon effect, maybe even flirting into peer pressure, but we're only talking about positive peer pressure here to go out there and have fun. So that's kind of what your hype team is doing for the party. If you show up into this Facebook group and everybody's having fun, people are commenting, people are making jokes on the engagement post, like you want to share your 2 cents, like you want to join in on the fun, it's kind of hard to hold up the wall if everybody is out there having a good time. The hype team also helps create the FOMO, fear of missing out phenomenon, as far as, once again, people are like, hey, I want to join, I want to have fun. You're creating that environment. Yes, tea parties are fun and engagement is typically high, and it's a great way to build your customer base. But also during tea parties, we are also looking to generate revenue. And the best way to do that is not post your first item right out the gate, hit them in the face with it when they join and nothing else. The idea is you're trying to nurture them and build up the rapport and engagement and have fun. So whenever it is time to buy, they've already gotten something out of the party, and that was maybe a few laughs, or it might have turned around a bad day for them by hopping on and chatting with some of their friends that they haven't seen in a long time. This dynamic and engaging atmosphere during parties helps build up and drive potentially higher sales when it is time to make your pitch. So now that we've talked about how the bandwagon effect and FOMO plays into your tea party, and that's what your hype team helps you create, we got to start by building our hype team. Up to this point, you might be thinking, is the hype team like a button I press on Facebook and then all of this confetti shoots out across my group? Like, what exactly is this mystical hype team? So you can build your hype team. Well, what I recommend building your hype team with is either your consistent customers, maybe some active participants and contributors in your group, or friends and family. Which, if you listen to episode number 9, Tea Party 101, you're going to realize that these different types of people that I'm recommending to become your hype team are also the same kind of types that I recommend for your host. So let's break those down. So the first type being consistent customers, potentially as a hype team member. The reason why I like consistent customers is because they've proven they love your products. They love supporting you, shopping. They are constantly showing up for you. So if you put them in a tea party as a hype team member, you know that they are going to be commenting on your product posts and helping get those seen. Next, we have active contributors. So these type of supporters aren't necessarily maybe always spending a lot of money in your shop. Maybe they're not the top spenders, but they do consistently show up in your Facebook group. They're always commenting. They're always saying, I love that. They're always supporting you, showing up on your live events. Those are the kind of people we also want in our tea parties as well. And then next, friends and family. Why friends and family? Because they think you're great at everything you do. Even if you have maybe a flop or you do something that's maybe not your best work, they might still just support you and say, I think it's great, I love it. Or they're going to give you words of encouragement after they give you that frank, candid feedback. Also, I like friends and family in this kind of capacity because if there is something going awry, or maybe you have a misspelling or a post posted at a weird time, your friends and family are probably going to be more likely to tell you, hey, that messed up, fix that, versus your consistent customers and active contributors. They might not feel like they have that avenue to be able to give you that frank of advice. They might just roll with your mistake. But again, I feel like friends and family are more likely to give you that feedback without it, getting sticky or muddy. When it came to a hype team, how I actually built my team was through maximizing and utilizing my brand reps. So what does this mean? My brand reps already love my brand. They are already working for some kind of incentive exchange for whatever they're doing for my brand. Probably 10 out of 10, your brand reps have already hosted a tea party and they love them. That's probably why they decided to sign up as a brand rep. What I like to do was, because brand reps were the closest thing to my business and the behind the scenes, so I would give them an opportunity to sign up for my tea parties As a hype team member, I usually had 1 or 2 max, but usually just 1 hype team member can be enough. And then there was, of course, some kind of exchange, which I'll talk to shortly. So if you do want help from people or you need them to do something for you, I always recommend it being a trade. So it's not just them constantly signing up or joining. That's what leads to burnout. But if there's some sort of transaction, that is what keeps people going and signing up to help you out. So when it comes to the role of a hype team member in these tea parties, you can let your host know that, hey, I have a hype team member that's coming to join your party. She's great. She's going to help keep the atmosphere fun and lively. I just wanted to let you know. The reason why I say that is because the host is inviting all of her friends to this party and coworkers. So when this random name shows up in her party and is commenting on everything and is maybe appearing to be a little bit over the top because she has no idea who she is, it could get a little bit weird. And you never want a public comment that says like, who are you again in your tea party? So I just recommend giving your host a heads up. But as far as the hype team member go, they're not introducing themselves as, hi, I am hype team member here to make sure you have a good time. No, they are embedding themselves into the party, appearing as another party guest. So to the host's party guest, they have no idea that this isn't just another friend of the host. Now that we've covered how to build your hype team, let's move on to how you're going to continue to nurture your hype team. You spend all of this work building out this team. You don't want to lose them and you want to make sure that they are valued. As I mentioned before, it's really important to reward and make sure your hype team members feel valued. The reason why is because the value that they bring to the table, the knowledge of tea parties, they've shown that they have what it takes to show up and engage and be positive. Those people are hard to come by and you really don't want to lose them, and it really helps what they bring to your business. So when it comes to rewarding your hype team members, there's a few different ways that you can do this. The main thing I like to do is not really based their rewards on the party sales, because again, it's not their friends. They're not the host. The host is focusing on trying to maximize total party sales. As the hype team member, you want them to be focused on the engagement and the pulse of the group. So you can give them a few guidelines on what you expect from them. And the best way to create guidelines is as you have a hype team member that is doing things that you like, write that down. And then as you work with a different hype team member, take note of different things they do. And then if you take all of the positive things that all of them do, that can start to become your groundwork guidelines for a hype team member. So I recommend that you give a reward to the hype team member just for signing up to help with the party, because you know that they have the type of demeanor, they know what they're supposed to be doing, and they have shown that they have what it takes. Is it possible that your hype team member will start off the week strong and then it'll trail off because something came up for this hype team member? Yeah, that happens. Let it go. But if it's happening, 4 and 5 times, then maybe that's something to address. But your hype team members are human too, and they have lives. That's why whenever you schedule your tea parties out for the month, however you communicate to your hype team members, I really like that you can go ahead and give them a heads up for the different themes in the weeks or the dates, so then they can sign up based on that, because they'll probably have a better idea of their schedule. When it comes to those rewards, you could do a couple of different things. If the party guests are receiving maybe buy 3, get 1 free, then what you could offer the hype team member is maybe even a steeper discount than that. Maybe telling them buy 1, get 1 free. So offering something even better than what everyone else is getting. Because we know that our hype team members love our products and business already, so giving them a steeper discount could be very rewarding for them. Another option could be giving them a free tea. So if you're already curating all of these collections for the party, if you offer them 1 free tea out of all of those items, you're already placing a shirt order, so that's not a big deal. You're already probably placing a design order for all of the designs you're running, so what's one more thrown on? You're not necessarily giving away a $30 shirt, $25 shirt. you're really only giving the cost of materials. So a $5 shirt and maybe a $4 print. So you're really out $9 for all of that help from the hype team member when potentially they were directly related to why your party sales were higher because people had fun. To me, that's a no-brainer. If you start to feel like your current reward is no longer motivating your hype team, just poll them, just ask them what they would like, or create a list of 5 options and give that to the group of them and see which ones they like. So it's possible that it's no longer incentivizing them depending on the season, and that's okay. We just got to keep switching that up to keep them motivated to keep showing up for us. One thing to keep note of though is that burnout can happen with your hype team members. So yes, they love your brand, they love your products, they love tea parties, but if they're signing up to hype week after week and you are starting to notice a decline in either their attendance or maybe even like their comments are getting a little bit short and you're having to read into them a little bit more, like, was that a little bit passive aggressive? Then it's okay to tell them, hey, I'm all full for these parties. I'd like for you to sign up in a month from now or something like that. So however you navigate that is up to you, but just keep in mind that that is possible. Even if the hype team member feels like they're still gung-ho, but you're noticing a decline, it is your business and you got to address that. Now that we've talked through different strategies and methods of nurturing your hype team, let's move into diving in deeper on why I recommend selective recruitment for your hype team members if you want authentic engagement. I do not recommend you make a public post saying, who would like to join my hype team? Or this are the requirements of the hype team and this is what you will get. I recommend a invite-only approach. That way, not only does it maintain it as exclusive, but it's also authentic. So the reason why I recommend this is because you want people to already be exuding the behaviors you want your hype team members to have, versus you offer an incentive, then they start showing these behaviors because that's naturally going to drift off. Just like when you picked your brand reps, right? They love your brand, they love your products, they love sharing them. So now that they're getting a special incentive for becoming a brand rep, for doing what they're already doing, it's a cherry on top. Same thing for your hype team members. You want to seek them out and then message them privately to invite them in. The amount of work that goes into building out your tea parties and thinking about all of the products you want to run, working with the host back and forth dynamically, there's a lot of work that goes into it. So just for you to throw your party and then it falls flat because engagement or your posts weren't seen on Facebook, that's not a way I want to go out. I want to show up with full forces ahead, making sure I gave it all everything I had. And with a hype team, that allows you to do that. It gets ahead of the party engagement because in the tea party planner, you're not posting product posts right away. There's some time to warm up your audience and you have to start strong. You have to get engagement up at the start of the party if you want to increase the likelihood of the excitement going into those product drops. So with having a successful tea party, yes, we need that fun virtual party decor, which is the tea party graphics. We need some catchy content that draws them in with the call to action, which are the captions found in the tea party planners. But then we also need a lively group. We need a lively bunch. And if maybe the host friends aren't used to maybe engaging in a Facebook group, your hype team members can help light that way for them. I would love to hear about your experiences building your own hype team. I want to hear the good and the bad, or maybe if you're just getting started and you need some help building out your hype team, come join the Facebook group, search Turn Down the Hustle on Facebook to join our free private community, make a post, and let's talk about it. In this podcast, we're all about working smarter, not harder. What better way to turn down the hustle than by making sure you're getting ahead of party engagement, not by relying on your host and her guests to bring a party atmosphere. You're bringing the party team with you. I mean, I want you to picture a big boombox on the shoulder walking into the party. So the turn down the hustle lesson of the day is don't wait for engagement, bring it with you. It's time to wrap up another incredible episode of Turn Down the Hustle. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode and found some valuable insights to fuel your journey. Don't forget to visit sunkissva.com/podcast to access the show notes for this episode. You'll find all the links mentioned in today's discussion, along with actionable tips and resources to help you implement what we've discussed. Lastly, make sure to hit that follow button so you never miss another episode. I'll be here cheering you on and sharing more inspiration and strategies to help you turn down the hustle and work smarter, not harder. I'm so honored to be a part of your journey. Until next time.